Meet Dominic Hayes, a man who hasn't slept in weeks, trapped between the buzzing static of insomnia and the silence of empty nights. His nights were spent on the couch, bathed in the blue light of late-night infomercials, flipping through channels like a man searching for a signal to a world that had moved on without him. Then, one night, an ad came on. Not flashy, not loud, just a soft voice over sepia-toned footage of a steaming cup of tea. Dreamleaf. A peaceful night, naturally, available exclusively at Madame Sol's botanical shop in the middle of downtown. The next day, with dark circles under his eyes and a headache pulsing behind both temples, Dominic drove downtown. He walked the block 3 times before spotting the place. A narrow storefront sandwiched between a vape shop and an antique bookstore. He could have sworn it hadn't been there yesterday. Inside, the shop smelled like lavender and dust. Shelves lined with jars of roots and dried petals curved around the walls like ribs. An old woman stood behind the counter, smiling gently. "Welcome," she said. "I'm Madame Sol." He didn't have to ask. She reached under the counter and pulled out a small tin with a faded label, Dreamleaf. "It works," she said, "but it's not without side effects." Dominic didn't ask, he didn't care. He handed her cash and took the tea home. That night, for the first time in weeks, he fell asleep the moment his head hit the pillow. And he dreamed. He was in a modest suburban home, sitting on a soft couch watching TV. The colors on the screen were vibrant. The air smelled like dinner. A little girl with bright eyes padded into the room and tugged on his sleeve. "Story time," she said. He followed her to her room. There were drawings taped to the walls, some of him, some of her, one of them together. He opened a book and began reading, even though he didn't recognize the story. It didn't matter. She laughed. She fell asleep holding his arm. Dominic woke up in his dingy apartment, blinking at the ceiling fan. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. The next night, he took the tea again. This time, he was back in the same house. Only now, he was at the dinner table. A woman served lasagna, kissed him on the cheek, smiled at him the way people do when they've known you forever. The girl, Lily, told a story about school. The woman, Anna, laughed. It wasn't just a dream, it was a life. He began writing down everything he could remember: names, details, the street address, the license plate of the car in the driveway. It all felt too real to forget. One morning, he woke up to find the notebook, the one he had been writing in during the dreams, sitting on the nightstand beside his bed. Same leather cover, same pen tucked in the binding. Inside, every entry was there, in his handwriting, and it smelled faintly like lavender. He stared at it for an hour. He tried to remember writing it in the real world. He couldn't. That night, he didn't take the tea. He wanted to stay awake. He needed to think, but no matter how long he waited, no matter how tired he got, he didn't fall asleep. And worse, when he finally did doze off, there was no dream, just blackness. No Lily, no Anna. Just the sound of the radiator clicking in his apartment and the headache pounding behind his eyes. The next night, he gave in. He drank the tea. He was back at the house. Lily ran to him like he'd just returned from war. Anna hugged him tight and whispered, "You look tired." He didn't tell them he'd been gone. He didn't tell them he wasn't sure if they were real. But something shifted after that. He started forgetting things from the real world. His job, his landlord's name, the number for his voicemail. At work, he stared at his screen without knowing what he was supposed to be doing. Sometimes he caught glimpses of Lily's drawings in the corners of papers, or heard Anna's laugh in the voices of passing strangers. One morning he woke up in the house and didn't feel the usual jolt of confusion. The walls were familiar, the sheets were soft, the smell of pancakes drifted from the kitchen. On the nightstand sat the notebook. He flipped it open. A new line had been added. "If you're reading this, I chose them." Dominic didn't remember writing it, but as the light poured in through the windows and Lily called for him from down the hall, he didn't question it. He closed the notebook, and he didn't wake up again. Like and subscribe for more eerie tales.